everyone. I'm Stormi Kelley, and I'm here on behalf of Andis Clipper Company and Salon Innovations. And today we're going to have a little fun with some pixie cut. We're going to do something soft, feminine, but I'm going to be doing it with all clippers. I know when you guys think of Andis, you always think of all the amazing barbers and the strong cuts that we have, which are awesome. But I'm a cosmetologist, and I'm going to show you some of my tips and tricks on how I create pixies on dry cuts and still have that softness. You guys ready for that? I'm super excited. So really quick, I'll go over the tools that we're going to be using. I'm super excited to show you guys all my tips with this. The first one we're going to use is the Andis Master Black Label Edition. Has our beautiful new phase blade, which is one of my favorites. I can't wait to go over all of that great stuff. Then we're going to be using our ReSurge shaver. Got a ton of tips and tricks for that for you guys. And as our detailer, we're going to use the Andis SlimLine Pro. And we can't forget our Cool Care. Can't do anything without Cool Care lube. So I know we always think about, oh, class. I'm super excited to be here. I'm glad to have you guys, but I don't like to call it a class. I like to just call it a hangout. We're all creatives. We're just on different journeys or different pathways in our career. We're just here to share. I'm just here to share knowledge with you guys, give you everything I have. So I would love for this to be, for us to have open dialogue, ask as many questions as you want. If you need anything, if it's anything I'm not covering, feel free to ask. Let's let this be an open conversation. You guys good with that? Let's go. So we got our beautiful mannequin here. Well, I'll call her Tracy today. Tracy's looking to have a pixie cut. She's like, you know what? I'm just over this hair. I kind of did a little pre-cutting, but left some length because I want to make sure we don't miss anything or and give you guys everything I have, really. So I typically do my haircuts dry in the salon. I know we're speaking to all my great clip pros. So if you guys experience different feminine cuts coming in, you're like, oh, I don't want to wet it down, or if somebody's in a rush, that's why I'm going to show you all my dry cutting techniques. Cool with that? One thing about it is dry don't lie. So you're going to see everything as real time as it happens. The other thing that I need to mention is dialogue. I know I'll be using a few different words. And if you have questions about those, feel free to drop me any questions you have in the chat, or if you need clarification. When it comes to feminine cuts, I like to kind of dial it back and use a different dialogue than with my masculine cuts. Even though it's going to be a shortcut, when you think about like fading or the detailing, I like to use words like contouring or let's soften this, because every feminine cuts, you want it to be soft. You want it to live softly. You want it to complement their bone structure. I think that is some of the most important things. I have a shaved head, and if you give me a straight across, it's going to make me look so masculine, and I'm going to go crazy. My neckline, I don't like anyone to put a line in straight across. Then you're going to cut me off, soften me up. I like to think about it from the side profile. A lot of times we only look at front face profile. So I'm going to start our haircut using the side profile. Why on the side? Because when you think about the occipital bone, and I'm just going to tuck her here. So tuck her hair behind her little ear so you guys can see. I like to look at the occipital bone and the line of the bone structure here and the cheekbone. That's going to determine where my weight lines are going to be. Cool with that? Any questions so far? Besides the lipstick on my teeth. Okay. So again, using our Andis Master Black Label. I love this. So sleek, so cute. Also on the side, you have your lever all the way closed. It's going to give us our shortest length here. And you can see we have the little tabs on the side. So as you want to go longer or softer, we're going to open this up. And you see how that blade gets a little bit longer each time. That's for our longer lengths. One thing I do love about this phase blade and what's different, it's still going to give me the precision of a fade blade, but it's going to give me a softness of a taper, if that makes sense. It's like the fade and the taper had a baby, and you got the phase, the one in between. I like to use the Andis barber comb. Why do I like to prefer the Andis barber comb? I have way more coverage. Also, I can use it to set in my lines here. The more I angle this towards me, the more heavier weight line I'm going to get, the softer. The more vertical I go with it, it's going to be more blended. Cool with that so far? Hopefully you guys are woke this morning. Any questions so far? All righty. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to remove all of this. I've kind of got her sectioned out. And this is how I approach my haircuts typically in the salon. So it takes me about 10 minutes for a cut. But I'm going to go as slow as possible. So what we're going to do is set in our weight line here. We're going to determine what length we like on the sides. We've already cut our bangs. That's going to give me a little bit of a cheat sheet. So set my comb, setting the hair right in my comb. And you want to make sure the hair is detangled coming right outside the comb. I like to use typically the body of my clipper for my stability, and I'll use the back of the blade to set the hair in. Any questions so far? All right, you guys are like, cut it. So now we determine what our desired length is going to be. Doo-doo. And sorry about my sniffling, guys, but my allergies are crazy. I'm here in Oklahoma. I don't know about you all, but the season changes are going crazy. So now we know what our desired length is going to be. Also, just to protect yourself, if you're not comfortable with this, you can't see, but I'm going to show you one of my little cheat tricks. I have my finger behind my comb, but I have it placed on the scalp. That's going to give me stability. So if you're having issues with that, that's a great tool to have in your back pocket. I'm starting at the shortest length, right? Because we are trying to get this over with. Time is what to us? Money. So I'm going to lay the blade right up against the comb, the spine of the comb. That's going to give us our weight line. And look, now we have our start and stop. Looks a little crazy, but don't worry. That's what I'm here for. Now we know this is going to be our longest length. So all we have to do now is blend up to that. This can be done in a few ways. You can still move on a horizontal, which is going to give us a more defined weight line. Even if I'm holding my comb horizontal, if I'm moving on a vertical, that's going to give me more blending. If you have someone with maybe more dense hair, it's a little spiky and you're like, I don't know, you can see every line in it, or if it's a little bit skinnier, if you want it even more soft, we can work on a diagonal. So depends on the canvas that you're working with. I like to tailor my haircuts to the person, the guest head, and not the just tic-tac-toe, like, is it supposed to go? All right. So now, before I start that, because I am going to be blending, I'm going to open my clipper halfway because it's still going to give me that power, still going to give me that speed, but I want it a little bit softer. So we'll start off with, let's see, look, we'll still go vertical. Oh, come on, move this hair out the way. Any questions so far? No, you guys are quiet. So now I'm gonna go on a vertical. But now, if you guys can see this, we're gonna be doing blending. So I'm gonna open my clipper all the way. I don't typically use guards and a bunch of clips because I like to, when you're working with, when I'm cutting dry, I like to cut the hair where it naturally lives. Because if I force the hair to do something it doesn't naturally do, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna make a hard time for this person in the future. They're gonna have to do that every day. Okay, so now we have that all the way open. Now we're gonna blend it. So now we're looking for what's just hanging over the spine. And we're gonna blend it here. Also, if you need something a little more aggressive, you can still do that. And all you have to do is close your blade a little bit more. Now I'm gonna work on the vertical so I can soften this. And what I'm looking for is just right what's hanging over the spine. I'm not worried about anything behind it. Is that cool? Making sense? Any questions so far? You guys gonna have to wake up this morning. Have this a little fun. Make a little bit of fun. Stormi, stop being perfect. I'm so OCD. I'm a perfectionist, if you guys can tell. So here, now we have our first side cut, right? You're like, wait a minute, Stormi, this is still kind of heavy here. It's heavy there. It's all right. We're going to get to it. So within less than 2 minutes, I have my first panel cut. So imagine if I was working around your whole head, how long this haircut would take. Like 10 minutes. I think we overthink it. Sometimes it's better to just be the artist you were in beauty school. Have fun. That's what I like to do. So now we have that done. We're not going to worry about all this free edge hanging over. We have that section cut. Because of the way we sectioned it out, now we're going to go back into our side, going into our back. I already have it sectioned out here. I like to take out right under the crown. That way I can use the occipital. My occipital bone is here, which is going to determine where my weight starts to build. And this for the crown area, which is going to be blending. All of this, just using my Andis master, no guard, no clips, no nothing. So once you're getting into this, and this technique can be used on longer lengths. I do a ton of longer lengths. Most of my guests are color and cut. I have blondes and with long, extremely long hair, beach wave, lived in looks, kind of like the Victoria's Secret flow. That's my clientele. I do all of their cuts with a clipper. The ergonomics of it, I don't have to continue to do this. So I'm able to keep my wrist straight. So speaking on that, before we get into this back section, body language, your body language and ergonomics are important, right? So when you're holding your clipper, you want to make sure you're using your thumb and just a few fingertips. It's like a remote control, so I can have some flexibility, right? Also, you'll notice I'm going to keep my elbow close to my body because it's going to give me more freedom with my clipper, and I can let the tool do its job. The further my elbow moves away, also I'm having the weight of my arm, which is going to stand being heavier, then I have less freedom with my clipper. So the more fingers you have on it, the less freedom you have. Less fingers, the more freedom you have. Did I say that right? I think so. All right. So even if this was a bob, you guys, if I wanted to, she's like, oh, I want an asymmetrical bob. Okay. That's a quick 6-7 minute haircut. I can stand in one section. And I know I'm going over different haircuts. We are still going to take it down to the pixie. But I just want to take this moment to give you guys as much as I can. So feel free to ask questions, hang out with me. Don't leave me out here on this deserted island by myself. But if somebody wanted a bob, came in, I want a bob, blah, blah, blah. I want an asymmetrical. You can totally use this technique in the same tools for the same haircut. Standing in one spot, over direction backwards, gives us what? Preserves length forward, right? All I have to do is stick my comb in, decide where I want my desired length to be. If I wanted it here, guess what? We have to close it. So we're going to close it, give us our shortest length. This is also good for debulking some of those ponytails. So imagine, you see how the angle is already there. If this was a bob. You guys like that? Oh, yes. So now let's take our excess off. And I like to go slow with it. I know we have a whole hour. I like to have fun. I like to do as much as I can. And remember when you were in beauty school and you wasn't able to, like, oh, take your time, be patient, blah, blah, blah. And you just wanted to take something and cut the hair off. I feel like that every time that I get to dry cut with the clipper. So now we're going to clean this up. We're about there. Now we still have our angle. So let's just take it off. Here's our weight line for the side. Now we're just going to match it up. Again, we're going to close it all up because we're building shape. And we're going to connect the front to the back. So there we go. Now we have our line, weight line here. Don't worry about this. This is going to protect us from taking too much, which we've all done before. So I'm still working with my blade closed. Now I'm going on the diagonal just so I can make it softer. And I'm only cutting, paying attention to what's hanging over the spine. Here's my stopping point here. So it's a little, I like to call it my protection. And so if I was behind the chair, typically this haircut takes me maybe 10 minutes, depending on the density of the hair. And so here, we're just gonna go tighter. Let's open this up so we can make it a lot softer. So now, since we're debulking, I'm going to still working on that vertical. Let's do a little blending here. And the comb is still my guard. How we doing so far? And you can take this as short as you want. I want to leave a little bit of length because I have so many tips and tricks that I do want to show you guys. So now we have that buildup. You can also, if it's just like a retouch or revisit on a haircut, sometimes I'll just take my comb, lay the spine of the comb up against the nape of the head, and I'll bring this out, and this should all line up. So that means I didn't do so bad, huh? I don't know if you guys use these or not, but these Andis barber clipper combs are the best. So I don't have to take time, fumble for guards, and oh, is that a 1? Is that a 2? Is that a 3? No, it's a you. It's a Tracy. It's a Jessica. And when you're working with feminine cuts, they want to know, and a lot of times people don't even know to ask certain questions or to request or demand certain things. One of the things I like to ask in the consultation is, how often do you like to get your hair cut? How often do you want to see me? What are you willing to invest? How much time do you spend with your hair in the morning? If they tell me, oh, I just want to come in every 5 to 6 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, or whatever, I'm not going to give them a harsh fade, because what's going to happen is that hair grows out, right? And so it's going to lose its shape as it grows out. And so I don't look good, they don't look good until their next visit. So if they're like, hey, I'm not too much invested, I don't like to spend too much time with my hair in the morning, and I just want to come every 6 weeks, I'm going to still give you a precision haircut, but I'm going to make it a lot softer. So I'm going to leave that length. And a lot of times we get nervous about the word fade. it's just graduation. And so when I'm speaking to someone that's looking for a softer cut, I try to stay away from the word fading because all they think about is balding. So I'm like, okay, how do you want to? I'm going to contour this for you, or we're going to soften this, or we're going to taper it down to complement your bone structure. That's some of the verbiage that I like to use. So now that we've got that done, you guys see how quick I cut hair. So talk to me. So that way we don't get done too quick, right? So now we have all of that done. What's next? We have this, our crown area. And I will show you how we have that sectioned out before I start to cut. You see how it's kind of dropped down the V, because if you haven't noticed, like I stated before, I like to typically cut with the round of the head. I like to tailor my haircuts. Oftentimes we're taught to cut square shapes on a round surface. And so with that being said, when you make those strong cuts on a square, then you see every cut that falls, right? Or every line that you created. One trick I like to do is work on a diagonal. So it's going to naturally flow with the person's head shape. So you're tailoring to their haircut and not making it too harsh. So now I'm going to work on this diagonal. And we're going to go straight across. Any questions before we get started with this? No, that's the boring part for you guys. So now, even though I'm working on a diagonal, I'm going to over direct this hair to line it up with my weight line from the side. Cool? Slight elevation. Now here, I'm going to make sure my clipper's all the way open because I need the longest length. So now, and as you see, I'm holding my clipper a little bit different, right? I'm holding it like a pencil because now I'm going to sketch. So you see this line that was done? Because that section on the diagonal is still falling soft, right? All right. Y'all want to talk to me? I'm just about to have some fun. So taking our next section, and if I'm going too fast or if you guys want me to repeat something, let me know. So working on my next section. So now I did that a little bit different. You want to see the difference in that here, maybe if you can see, it's a lot more jagged. So with my Andis Master, holding it the same way, this is a technique that I like to call etching. You're literally penciling it out. You're guiding the clipper. I've got maybe 2 fingers on it. And so I'm going to use it. I'm using my clipper basically like a razor, if that makes sense. You guys following me? Now you can also see, working on this dry hair, the importance of the phase blade. I don't know too many clippers out there that has this amount of speed and torque that's going to give you this softness, right? That's why it's my favorite. Am I having too much fun for you? I'm waking up now. No coffee needed. So over directing again, we're going to take our last section. And well, no, not the last, almost the last. Can you guys see this? Pretty good. Let me move my comb. And maybe I can put it underneath so you guys can get a better view. So we're going to do some etching. So 2 fingers on my clipper. That's a little slow motion for you. And so you see the results of that. Yeah, I cut past my second knuckle, but it's okay. Only for you guys. So now you see how soft that is? That's an amazing technique for dry cuts. on. Long, short, doesn't matter. Let's do this so you guys can see. I don't have to worry about cutting my finger. I really don't even have to turn my clipper off. So now that we have our side profile built in, before we go to blend this even more, how you guys feeling? Okay. Let me get back to business. So now we're going to pull this out and be sure that it matches up with our weight line here. So we can go overhand, I can go underhand. What you guys want to see? The different effects. Actually, let's go underhand. Because a lot of times they say, oh, well, you can't trim or cut a baseline with the clipper and still keep it soft. I'll show you. We're just going to bring this straight out and do that. So we're going to run it right under. And now we have that little corner off. I'm going to create some bulkiness because I'll show you guys how I take out weight with using my clipper. So here, we're going to etch with it. So imagine how quick behind the chair I'm able to work. So to book an appointment with me, I have a requirement. You have to get a minimum of, I don't just do just a haircut because my haircuts are so quick that I'd be doing 5 to 10 haircuts in an hour. So I make sure that all my guests, you have to have at least 2 services with me. One thing that working with the clipper and being able to use it dry, wet, or whatever I need to do, it gives me that speed. Also, the precision haircuts, I can still create softness, but it leaves me so much time to upgrade. So I can upgrade to color, shampoo, whatever it is. So I'm working smarter, not harder, and I'm like at least doubling, quadrupling my money within the same amount of time, working less. I'm kind of introverted, so I don't want to see that many people if I don't have to. So less is more, but okay. Now we have our last piece at the top. Let's connect that, and you guys will get a closer vision of action. So we got it pull straight out, and it's done. So if you want to go back and double check this, if you have corners on it, you can. I like to use pie sections. So it's going to fall softer. So there's a little corner. We'll take that off. All right. So far, so good. Any questions? Any comments? Any discoveries? You guys don't want to talk at all, do you? Attitude. All right. So now we already have this cut within just a couple sections, right? We are going to, and I went ahead and cut the bang because I used the same straight across technique to create just a straight across bang, right? So now we're going to get into some longer cutting. We're still going to do a little bit of etching for her to kind of marry her front and the back together. Cool with that? All right. So I like to remove this little corner. Let's see, can you guys see that really well? I like the way that's looking. Get this out of the way. And I'm just going to pick up a little smaller comb so my comb's not in the way for you guys. So now we have our length at the top. I'm just going to take a pie section down the middle. Bring it straight up. Using still my master width at its longest length, all the way open. And we're just going to clean this up. Next section, bisection. Get this over with. Edge in motion, taking out those corners. So I can show you guys how to remove. Use your clipper to texturize and remove weight. And because we are so good, I think we kind of ran out of room already. See, 5 sections, 5, 6 sections, and you're good to go. How we doing, you guys? So now when it comes to, I still will texturize with my clipper. Not I do. I do everything with it. And because I'm a little OCD, we're just gonna, so let me save that for last. So when it comes to removing weight, texturizing, redistributing weight, I like to call it the hair manipulation. When I want to build weight or just soften it, I'm going to use the corner of my blade, of my clipper. And let's see, even if, we'll start on the sides first before we get into her detail work. So say for instance, her hair was thick and spiky, it grew straight out from the scalp. It's very dense. If you wanted to go in and break that up, I'll still use the clipper over comb, and I'm going on a diagonal, using just maybe 2 or 3 teeth. The more hair you're working with, the more teeth you're going to use, but we're going to only use the corner. So 2, 3 at the max. And I'm just going to come down. And if it's not long enough, if you don't have enough space, you can fold it just a little bit. So here. And it's kind of like we're scissoring over comb. I got that comb moving and my clipper's moving at the same time. Also, what that's doing is, because I'm coming in with my clipper from the top, it's removing the hair from the top. A lot of times we'll take a texturizing shear and we put it straight in and we go up the head and we're cutting. I don't care if we're going on a diagonal, and we just blend it out or soften it, quote unquote. But short does what to long? Pushes it, right? So it makes that hair grow out versus down. We want to maintain our shape and look great as an artist, because this is still your art piece walking down the street in about 3 weeks. So working with my clipper from top is removing and breaking, removing the weight from the top. So now short pushes long still, right? So it's gonna, as it grows, it's gonna force the hair to grow down, so the haircut maintains its shape. Cool story. Is that too much? Am I going too fast? Talking too much? All right. So now we're just gonna soften all this up. I'm not so much worried about the top, because remember, we're gonna come back to that and I'll show you different tips to remove weight using your clipper with the longer lengths. Good. And I'm just debulking and breaking it up where I need to. If this hair was wet or if she had a ton, I can still go in on her hairline and pick, as long as I'm in control. I'm not laying the clipper on her head. I'm actually just going in as I see it and taking it out. And so that's why, now you guys see why I love the phase blade and the Black Label Master so much, because it's still high torque. I get the speed that I need, but I still get the softness. Precision of a fade blade, the softness of a taper. You don't need nothing else. That's all I need. So now that I'm getting into my longer lengths, depending on what I want this hair to do, this weight line here, I'm just gonna freehand and soften it. Cool with it? So I'm just gonna lightly break it up right here. And if you notice, the clipper is just resting in my hand. I'm not really forcing it. I'm not doing much. I'm just letting the blade do its thing. This is when the blade starts talking to you. And when the blade starts talking, I listen. It's the funnest part. A lot of people get nervous, like, oh my gosh, what's about to happen? It's like nothing. I got you. Black label, keeping it fresh. So now we can break this up. So if you want more visible texture, that's one way to get it. I always use this technique around the parietal ridge because it can get boxy really quick. We doing all right? So now let's get into some weight removal from the top on longer length. So now I'm just going to take, still all the way open, take that blade in. Can you guys see that good? We're going to remove some weight from the inside. And so we're going to texturize with that. I haven't had to put my clipper down, even though it's fast, speedy, and strong. It's super lightweight. So here's this. So we're just texturizing, giving it that lived-in look. And taking that density out. Here it is. And we're just scooping. Here. If you want more, the more hair you want to take out, the more you're going to angle your clipper. The less hair, if you want to just do blending, you're going to run parallel with the hair shaft. So it's just like using a texturizer. When you have a texturizer with teeth that are close, that's your quote unquote blending shear, right? And so it's going to do more blending. The more the teeth are apart, it's going to be your notcher or your chunker, whatever they call it. My blade is going to do the same thing, except I don't have to work on a panel. I'm in control, so I can customize it to my personal preference. So the more I angle this clipper, the more I'm going to take out. The less I angle, the more blending I'm going to do. And I'm going to pick this comb up so you guys can actually see this technique. So I'm looking for where light isn't passing through, like here. So if I want to blend this, I'm just going to run parallel with this hair shaft. And you see how we just broke this weight up? Just with the corner of our blade. So, but if I want more taken out, let's make a few discoveries so you guys can see it live. If I want more taken out, I'm going to angle it more. And so now, there you can see the more voluminous we create, more volume, more texture. So now let's continue to break this up. Also, when I'm using this technique, I can actually correct my cut as I'm working. So here we are. I'm going to switch this back around. Here. So we've done a whole half of a haircut. If I wasn't talking, this was real time working behind the chair, she would probably be gone out the door. I'm going to take this up. Matter of fact, instead of taking that corner off, let's have some fun with it, you guys. Let's do this. So she's not cutting, right? Because we're trying to get these little soft fringy hairs. I'm just going to close it a little. There we go. And I can actually use my blade to scoop the hair out as I'm cutting, so I can force the hair to lay in the exact direction that I want it to lay. Easy peasy. So here, let's take out some more weight. We'll take some out in the back, then we will get to our detailing. Let's open that back up. And I'm working on a pie section, you guys. I know it looks like I'm working on a vertical or a rectangle, but it's actually not. And because of my OCD-ness, I just want this line broken up right here. It's a little heavy for my satisfaction. And you can actually see where the texture you're putting in as you're working with it. So here, we're going to take out some weight. Again, using the corner of my beautiful phase blade. And it cuts just like what I say. That's like butter, but well, I guess so. I'm not going to start talking vegetarian talk. Oh, breaking that weight limit. So now we've created a ton of texture here at the top. How are we doing so far, you guys? No questions, no discoveries, no repeats. We all following along pretty good? Okay. So you see that's not cutting much, right? Might not be a big deal to you guys, but I'm so OCD that I'm going to close that halfway. I got to break this up. We can't let it just roll like that, right? And so when I want to go really fast, I kind of close it almost all the way and just attack pretty aggressively and get the job done. Bam. But if you're not used to it, when you first start using it, use it all the way open. You can close it as you go, but it's so expensive to put this hair back on that you don't want to make too many discoveries. So now that we have that out the way, our cut's basically done, right? How you guys feeling about it? We doing good on timing? So now we've got all this. Pixie cut's done. Now we have to get into our other detailing part, which our SlimLine Pro is going to be our bestie. This is one of my favorite trimmers. It's little, but it packs a lot of punch. You can be aggressive or you can be polite with it. It's up to you. I love that it does give me that freedom, and it's so dainty enough I can put it in small areas. So I was hard to get areas. We're just going to use it. And now I'm going to clean up around the ear. With the SlimLine Pro. Also, I'm going to do, so it's really important, I feel like, on a softer feminine cut, don't push or give me a harsh line. Like in my temple area, I don't want harsh anything anywhere because it's just not a good look for me. And also, it doesn't, think about when you're putting on your makeup, when you contour your face, when you put your highlighter on, you want your haircut to be that for you. So using our SlimLine Pro, I'm just going to clean this up right around here. I'm not going to give her a harsh line straight across. We're just going to complement her growth pattern and her bone structure. Then I'm going to use my clipper comb. And instead of just shaving this off, because we want it soft, right? And we want it to grow down, I'm going to use my clipper comb, over direct this hair. And then I'm going to use the corner of my blade on my SlimLine Pro and create that texture there. And just think, guys, we have not had to put our tool down. We haven't had to do anything. We haven't had to go back and forth, juggle, dribble, D nobody up. Whole haircut, 10 minutes, 2 tools, one at a time. I don't like to have to go back and forth between my tools or getting guards and this and dealing with crazy clips. That's why I love working with the head shape, barber comb, best clipper, trimmer. That's all you need. It's funny because when I'm doing shows for like other companies, they'll say, "Oh, Stormi, where's your because I am a cosmetologist, where's your travel kit?" And so I come in with like a little bag about this big, and they're like, "I'm not." they're like, where's all your stuff? And I'm like, I just need a brush, a comb, a clipper, a trimmer for backup, and one other tool that I'm about to show you guys some tips and tricks with that. So we'll break that up some. Gotta have a little bit of fun. Over direct these corners. And you see, I didn't put a harsh stamp line behind her ear and her neckline. Yes, I want it to look stronger and I want it to be detailed, but I don't want it to be harsh at all. Working smarter, not harder. And then I'm still using to take off some of this. Bam. Easy peasy, right? You guys are quiet this morning. I'm gonna need y'all to wake up. So what's next is, sorry, one thing I know you guys have seen it because I have seen it a million times. It happens to me, it happens to everyone, but we're all human beings, so it's okay. We grow hair in places we don't want hair, right? With me, especially I don't have any hair to camouflage anything. So all I got is some eyelashes and some lipstick to try to camouflage. But have you ever sat behind a female and she's got the most gorgeous haircut and makeup's on point? But if you're behind them and they turn and the light hit a certain way, you see all this little fuzz. You just gave her the best haircut. I don't know why. It bothers me. And I don't want to see that. We shave our legs, don't we? We need to clean up. We do the whole derma peel for our face sometimes. Some of us don't. So I've got a tool for you guys. It is the Andis Cordless ReSurge. It's a shaver. A lot of times we get scared of a shaver, but you need a shaver. Everyone needs one. I don't care if it's for your arm hair, for that neck hair, for a balding head. I use this on my hair cut all the time. One thing I do love, not just because it looks modern, it looks super chic in my bathroom, it looks cute at my station. It pivots. You know, most of the box shavers we have was kind of square. This one does pivot, so you don't have to worry about missing a spot or nicking someone. It won't cut you. But if you look really closely, it has kind of like a trimmer blade in the middle. So even today, it's been a few days since I cut my hair. I can use this going to clean it up. But how I use it on my softer feminine cuts is I like to take care of that peach fuzz, because it just makes your haircut set better. It makes your makeup set better. It makes your skin more glossy, vibrant, and you have a glow all the way around, not just beautiful hair, lipstick. And then if someone looks at your side profile, you got, the peach fuzz. So I'll take it and I always clean up around the neck and the ear. Even if I have to do like a jawline and around the face, I just roll it around just a little bit. It's soft, and most of my guests that have pixie or short haircuts, they've now bought one of these because they enjoy the way it looks and they enjoy the way their makeup lays when they use it. Also, their husband can use it. They have a tool that they can share. So if you don't have a ReSurge, you got to get one. It's the best thing out here since sliced bread. I'm telling you guys. So I like to clean that up. Well, usually I don't go too much by the brow. Her brow is a little closer than normal. So I make sure that neck is clean. I get all of that off to kind of give you that detailed glow. And guess I absolutely love it. So now we've done that. And how are we doing on time, you guys?
Got about 10 minutes left.
Okay. So now that we've done that, any questions? Did I answer everything? Anything I need to repeat for you guys? Is there a technique that I might have went too fast on, or how we doing? And how y'all feeling? Okay. Everybody's doing good. So now that we have a little bit of time left, I'm just gonna have a little fun if that's okay with y'all. And I'm gonna break this up just a little bit more because my name is Stormi and that's what I do.
Hey, Stormy, this is Diana. We have about 9 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Gonna use this again. I seen this corner and I had to get it. So because we're on the time crunch now, I'm gonna close it all the way and take this little corner off. Let's go. And so typically this is how I work behind the chair. And so it takes me about 7 to 10 minutes. I usually spend 10 minutes on my bobs just because I love bobs. But when it comes to my pixie or most of my haircuts, they're in and out 10, 12 minutes. I don't have time for that. And they're good to go. I want a dry cut. Right? So just a quick recap. The Andis Black Label, the beautiful phase blade innovation. SlimLine Pro, your beautiful cordless ReSurge. And don't forget your clipper comb and your cool care. You can get every single one of these items at saloninnovations.com. So if you're ready to up your game, do more precision haircuts a lot faster, make more money, and make your job 10 times easier, go visit saloninnovations.com, get your tools, and meet me out there. If a part, we'll add a little product. She's gonna be ready for outside traffic. What you guys think? She's pretty cool for a clipper cut, if I do say myself. I rock it. Just gonna put those in here. Bam. And also a quick recap so we can see what we just worked on is we created this glamorous contouring shape. Very complimenting for her bone structure. All with a clipper. We did it dry. We didn't have to wait. Build up that weight line for the occipital bone. We took care of the sides, finessed the top. We did a lot of contouring and blending instead of fading. And we created some movement here with that clipper cut. And so if you're in a situation, I know a great clip sometimes is if you want to get your speed count up, this is the best way to go. Get comfortable working with a clipper, dry, wet, whatever you need. If you ever have any questions, if you ever get to a point where you're stuck or you have a discovery, because I say we're artists, we have fun, we never make mistakes, we only make discoveries. So if you discover, you have a discovery, and you're like, oh man, how could I be better at that? Or, whatever happens, you can always DM me. I do a lot of, I always respond back to my DMs. I'm just Stormi on Instagram, and that's Stormi with an I. So it's literally JUST, Stormi with an I on Instagram. You can, all the tools, again, you can get those at saloninnovations.com. I do want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't thank you enough to Salon Innovations. Great clips, and of course, the wonderful Andis Clipper Company. So I'm guessing we have about 4 or 5 minutes left. I'll leave it open. So if you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them for you. Maybe not. All right. But here's a finished little look. Jeez. So much fun. Hey, girl. All right. And most people will say, I cannot believe you done all of that with just a clipper and a trimmer and a shaver. So, yeah. Awesome sauce. I really hope you guys learned a lot. I really hope you found useful information, things that you can take to make you better, faster, whatever you're needing behind the chair. If there's something I didn't do that you want to see, please let us know and I'll be happy to bring that to you. And again, if you have any discoveries, don't hesitate to hit me up in the DM and I'll get right back to you and do as much as I can to help you out.